My world shattered the day I found out my wife, Jessica, was cheating on me. Not just with anyone, but with my best friend, David. The two people I trusted most in the world had stabbed me in the back. I stumbled upon their texts by accident. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, a message from Dee. I'd never been the jealous type, never had a reason to be. But something told me to look. The messages were a punch to the gut. Explicit plans, secret rendezvous, declarations of love. My heart hammered against my ribs, a wild animal trapped in a cage. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The air was thick with their deceit. I felt a white-hot rage building inside me, but I shoved it down. Revenge, I decided, is a dish best served cold. I wouldn't confront them, not yet. I would play their game, but I would write the rules. The next few weeks were a living nightmare. I had to pretend everything was normal. I smiled at Jessica, kissed her good morning, and listened to her talk about her day, all while knowing she was lying to my face. With David, it was even harder. He'd clap me on the back, ask how I was doing, and suggest we go for a drink, the whole time sleeping with my wife. The hypocrisy was suffocating. But I held my tongue and gathered my evidence. I took pictures of their text conversations, saved every incriminating message, and even used a discreet app to track their meets. The proof was undeniable, a growing mountain of their betrayal. Every piece of evidence was another brick in the wall I was building around them. I thought they were so clever, sneaking around behind my back. They had no idea I was watching their every move, orchestrating their downfall. The plan started to take shape in my mind. It wasn't just about exposing them. It was about hitting them where it would hurt the most. I knew Jessica loved the lavish lifestyle I provided. Our beautiful house, her designer clothes, the fancy dinners, she reveled in it. David, on the other hand, was always struggling financially. He was a partner in a small startup that I had helped him fund with a significant personal loan. He was constantly talking about a huge new investor they were about to land, a deal that would finally make him rich. That was my opening. I started to dig into David's business. As his silent partner, I had access to their financials. What I found was shocking. David was cooking the books, inflating their numbers to make the company seem far more profitable than it was, all to lure in this big investor. He wasn't just a cheater, he was a fraud. I now had two powerful weapons: evidence of the affair and proof of David's financial fraud. It was time to set the stage for the final act. I decided the perfect venue would be our annual anniversary party. Jessica was already planning it, a huge affair with all our friends and family. It was her favorite event of the year, a chance to show off our perfect life. The irony was almost too much to bear. As the date approached, I put my plan into motion. I anonymously sent a detailed package of David's fraudulent business records to the major investor he was courting. I knew it was only a matter of time before his house of cards came tumbling down. The investor was a ruthless businessman, and he would not take kindly to being deceived. David's dream of getting rich was about to turn into a legal nightmare. The night of the party arrived. Our house was filled with music, laughter, and the scent of expensive champagne. Jessica looked radiant in a new dress, floating around the room, the perfect hostess. David was there too, schmoozing and acting like the man of the hour. They occasionally exchanged secret glances, thinking they were invisible. Watched them, a calm resolve settling over me. Halfway through the evening, I stepped up to the microphone, supposedly to give a toast to my beautiful wife. Jessica beamed at me, holding up her glass.
Ow.
David stood nearby, a smug grin on his face. I started my speech, talking about love, trust, and loyalty. The room was silent, hanging on my every word. Then my tone shifted. Trust, I said, looking directly at Jessica, is the foundation of any marriage. And when that trust is broken, everything else crumbles. Her smile faltered. I then turned to David, and loyalty is what we expect from our best friends, people we'd do anything for. David's face went pale. The air in the room grew thick with tension. I paused for a moment, letting the silence hang. Then I dropped the first bomb. I calmly described finding the text messages, the secret meets, the lies. Gasps echoed through the room. Jessica's face turned from confusion to horror. People started whispering, looking back and forth between her and David. She tried to deny it, but her shaking voice gave her away. The perfect image she had crafted was shattering before everyone's eyes. But I wasn't done. I turned my attention back to David. And speaking of betrayal, I said, my voice cold as ice, some people aren't just content with betraying their friends. They also betray their business partners. I then revealed everything I had discovered about his financial fraud, how he had cooked the books and lied to his investors. Just then, as if on cue, David's phone began buzzing relentlessly. It was his other business partner, panicking. The big investor had pulled out, threatening legal action. The color drained from David's face. He was ruined, professionally and personally, in a single night. In front of all our friends and family, I had exposed them for who they truly were. The aftermath was exactly as I had planned. Jessica was humiliated. Our friends and family, who once adored her, now looked at her with contempt. I filed for divorce the next day. Thanks to a prenuptial agreement and clear evidence of her infidelity, she walked away with almost nothing. The lavish lifestyle she loved was gone in an instant. She had to move out of our beautiful home and back in with her parents, stripped of the status she so desperately craved. David's fate was even worse. The investor sued him for fraud, and his company imploded. He was facing legal battles that would bankrupt him and potentially land him in jail. He lost his business, his reputation, and the friendship he had so casually thrown away. He tried to reach out, to apologize, but I never responded. To me, he no longer existed. Some might say my revenge was harsh, that I went too far. But they were into ones who had their world torn apart by the two people they trusted most. I didn't act out of blind rage. My revenge was calculated, precise, and aimed directly at what they valued most: Jessica's status and David's ambition. I simply held up a mirror and forced them to look at the ugly truth of their actions. It didn't fix the pain of their betrayal, but it brought a sense of justice, a closure that allowed me to finally start moving on. I sold the house, filled with too many tainted memories, and started a new chapter of my life. I learned a hard lesson about trust, but I also learned about my own strength and resilience. They tried to destroy me, but in the end, they only destroyed themselves. I was finally free.